All right, guys, just do a walk around and review of my 2026 KTM 300 XC-W Hard Enduro build. Starting from the top down and trying to move front to back. Running the ODI super soft lock-on grips with the ODI bar ends. Running the Aurora 30 millimeter bars. I've ran these for a couple of years now and I really like them, the low bend. Had to do some customization of the bar pad that came with them because I changed out the triple clamp and bar clamps, which fit different. I'll talk about those in a sec, but just used a razor and trimmed that out to fit. Got my little goo rubber band holder. Have the Enduro Engineering split start-stop switch set to get rid of that stupid OEM crappy start-stop switch over here. Glad I did that. I've done that on several bikes. Running the Flow Motorsports 9 millimeter master clutch cylinder instead of the 10 millimeter, so it gives you a lighter pull and winds out the engagement range. Flow also makes different levers. They have unbreakable versions. They have ones that pivot up and down, like this front brake lever. This pivots up and down right there. But anyways, this lever came with the master cylinder, and I also ordered a separate clutch lever that has the up-down unbreakable pivot portion. Running the SXS Burley handguards. I've ran the vented before, and I couldn't tell the difference between vented versus non-vented, so I just got the non-vented version this time. I did the headlight high beam mod. So on these US XC-Ws, they don't come with a high-low beam switch, so they're always stuck on low beam. And there's three light emitters. You got the daytime running light right on the end there, and on top of the assembly, that yellow thing is it's either the low beam or the high beam, and then just on the bottom side, just exactly opposite of it, is the other high or low beam. Well, from the factory, it's only stuck with low beam. You can't turn high beam on without a switch. So what you can do is just take that whole light assembly out of the lens, unhook it from the harness, and you just have the bulb with a 6-inch pigtail going to the connector. There's 3 wires. There's a blue wire, a yellow wire, and I believe it's either white or brown, but either way, the blue wire is the high beam wire, but it never gets power. So all you do is take power from either one of the other 2 wires. You just strip back the insulation a little bit and solder or connect a piece of wire with one of those easy connects and cut your blue wire or strip the insulation around it and jump power from either one of those 2 other wires to the blue wire, and then voila, you'll have high beam, low beam, and the daytime running lights. So it takes probably like 15-20 minutes. Super cheap, super easy, especially if you're not a solder. So I did that. Have the Tugger pull strap front and rear. The rear for these 2024 and beyond bikes is a Type 7, and that has the L brackets. They're 90-degree L brackets. You can tell, but there, that's a good picture there. So bird over it, Tugger straps, makes a good product. Running the, before I forget, have the crosslink components 2-stroke oil cap cover. Just got some magnets impregnated or 3D printed within the soft rubber cover. You just pull it straight off and put it back on. It keeps that cover nice and clean. But I'm running the X-Trig Rocks triple clamp. This is the adjustable 20 millimeter or 22 millimeter version. Right now I have it set up in the 22 millimeter setting. I'm going to test that, and then later I'll switch to the 20 and see how I like it. And then the Rocks comes with the PHDS. It's their version, their handlebar clamp system. It's got some rubber inserts to help reduce vibration. Also, I'm running the S3 top perch clamp support piece. So basically, this orange piece here, it fills in this void and helps support or brace any breakage like this. Not up and down, but just any like this. So if you take a good hard hit on the front of your perch, it helps support that. And I've ran these on my bikes for 3 or 4 years, and it has saved so many perches. So I run that on this side, and then On the Flow Motorsports, it's a different style. It has the front to back perch versus the top and bottom, so you can't run that, but you shouldn't need to anyways, because A, it has a nylon insert underneath the perch to keep it, you know, easily rotatable in case you take a hard hit, and plus they offer the unbreakable levers. But just something to keep in mind. All right, moving down, running the crosslink components, upper and lower fork tube guards, the snap-on guards that Devin makes over there at Crosslink Components. Moving down, running the VX40 front with the Nitro Moose standard insert. I have the Aries SXS front disc guard with integrated lower fork guard. If you look on this side, you can see I have the other style of SXS lower fork guard, but you can get both of those, and if you're not running this disc guard, but if you get the disc guard, you gotta, obviously you can't run that style of fork guard over here, so it's integrated. So on this side you have this assembly, and over there you got that. They work really good protecting your forks for sure. Got the bulletproof designs, radiator guards, love those, ran them forever. Super Bomber. Run the Samco silicone hose kit. You can see a little bit over here, and over here. And I did the thermostat delete, so I took out the thermostat and the downpipe that's in the frame. And I do understand that there's pros and cons to that. And for the elevation, the heat, you know, the temperature, and the type of riding I do, I decided I did not need that thermostat. Although I do agree that in certain areas and certain types of riding, you want that. But just make your own informed decision on running a thermostat or not. Running the SXS Duo skid plate, Super Bomber, 2 layers. I've ran their other style for years and years, and that was awesome too. Now they got this one that's even more thick and burly. Threw some shoe glue and then in my gear shifter. I know a lot of people cut that. I've never felt the need to cut it, but it is annoying with mud stuff gets in there, so got rid of that. Have the Enduro Engineering clutch slave cylinder saver. Kind of helps protect and support this clutch slave in case you break a chain and it wants to get wadded up in here. And then Bulletproof Designs TPS billet aluminum protector. You can see I just got a cheapy Tusk gear shifter zip tied in there going across to the other side just as a spare. Seems like I'm giving gear shifters and rear brake pedals away a lot to buddies that I ride with. So it's totally out of the way. It's not hitting any lines or wires or rubbing on anything. So I got them fished in there, so they're just perfectly out of the way. Running the Dirt Tricks countershaft dome washer. This apparently has a more of a rebound springy type of steel, so when you clamp it down, it's not like kind of a 1 or 2 time use deal. You can repeatedly use it. That way, if you change the sprockets a lot, you don't get an oil leak from not having enough pressure on your countershaft sprocket. Run the Raptor titanium foot pegs, 5 millimeters down, 5 millimeters back, with the bulletproof design foot peg pin and nut. I swapped from the 1445 gearing on these new bikes. Yeah, they went even taller from a, I don't even know what it was, but it's taller to a 1445 to a 1249. Now keep in mind, I do just a bunch of first, second gear, sometimes third, tech stuff, ride very low roads. So if you're wanting to cover a lot of distance and a lot of roads, 6th gear for me is probably about 45 miles an hour, just at a comfortable RPM, but it works for me great. Moving on, I have a set of spare clutch and front brake levers, zip tied out of the way in the airbox here, and then some tools in the airbox, and they're stowed in there really tight so they don't bounce around or move. They're in there good. Get this back in. Come on, buddy. All right, moving on, got the Crosslink Components swing arm guards, super good, Super Bomber. Devin makes a great product for sure. as well as his crosslink components chain guide with integrated support tab bracket. Bulletproof designs, rear axle block set. Gets rid of the loose axle blocks and has one permanently on your axle, and the other one basically stays in place when you take your axle out. Running the IRC GX8 140 with Nitro Mousse plushie insert. I have another wheel that has the Prolock 360, but I already have one wheel, and I'm still waiting on the other Prolock 360s to be released to the public, so I just left this wheel as is for now. Gut seat, rib seat. While we're here, have the Takomoto double snorkel / fuel pump kit. So what this does is has two pickup tubes, one that goes down each side of each horn on your fuel tank to pick up every last bit of fuel. So if you're on a road or a smooth section, it doesn't run out of fuel right here, because the pickup area for the pump is in the middle of the tank, about this level, and it's got a cup in there, and if you're not sloshing around, you've basically run out of fuel even though you have this much left. So got one of those, and that way I'm good to go. Although most of the riding I'm doing is pretty aggressive, so fuel's getting sloshed around. You can't see it, but the ECU has the two-stroke performance ECU flash from South Bay Moto, Steve Boardman over there at South Bay. Yeah, great service, great knowledge. Hooked me up with the best tune to run. He suggested the K-tune, which is the middle of the 3 available at the time when I got this. Since then, they've released a 4th tune. But this tune is right in the middle, so with ERM, the module you can hook up to your harness and adjust the parameters of ECU. You can lean it out to kind of match that leaner I-tune, or richen it up to match up the K-tune. So that's what I went with. Get this back on here. Moving around. Running the GX8 140 rear with the Nitro Tech Nitro Mousse plushie insert. I have the Bulletproof Designs rear caliper guard. Got my rear brake caliper brake pad pins wired, safety wired, so hopefully the pins don't fall out, but if they do, at least I don't lose them. They're probably going to stay put. Bulletproof Designs rear disc guard. Moving on. aux rear silencer. I went with the mid-length one and have the Polysport Armadillo silencer guard. I've had some people say they look kind of goofy, but I've had a lot of people say that's actually a good idea. It just helps protect your silencer because they get dinged up and banged and dented and stuff. So it's pretty cheap just to put on there and just help save your investment. On the shock, I went with the K-Tech Pro Valve kit and bladder kit. Resprung that to a P45 Racetech progressive spring from the 6.3 to 6.9 stock progressive spring. Here you can see the rear brake pedal that I have threaded in there and zip tied for a spare. This goes up there. It's got a zip tied to the frame mounts. And yes, I know that this bolt's missing. I take one bolt out on each side. These frames are known to be pretty stiff, so this helps give your frame a little more flex. Got the Nihilo Concepts rapid preload adjuster. You can just throw a T-hound on there and adjust your preload without using hammer and punch and stuff. I think I already told you about the Raptor 5 down 5 back pegs. Bulletproof Designs titanium foot peg pin and nut. Bulletproof Designs clutch cover, a lot stronger than stock and gives it a more volume of tranny fluid. Bulletproof Designs rear brake pedal with the clean speed near rear brake pedal tip, which moves the brake pedal tip back about a ½ inch. Aux exhaust, with E-line fiber, carbon fiber exhaust guard. I've tested these against the P3, and these E-line pipe guards fit way better. They're like a snap-on fit. You can use your fist to kind of snap it on the pipe, and once it's on, it's not falling off. You know, you can have the hose clamps off and it's not falling off. Of course, you wouldn't leave the hose clamps off when you're riding, but the P3s, you can never get them to stick on the pipe. These just have a much better, like, glove-like fit. Got the two-stroke performance power valve cover, two-stroke performance head. I got the high compression on this bike. OEM fan with LED thermostat readout. I have my thermostat set at 190. Already talked about the Samco hose kit. And I think, did we talk about the Bulletproof Designs chain tangle eliminator? This prevents, if you ever throw your chain to the inside, prevents it from creating enough slack where it'll wad up, and either wad up here and break your clutch slave, or wad up here and break basically your swing arm pivot through hole on your cases. I know I was riding with Graham in Spain last year and threw a chain, and it wadded this up, and we could not get it undone. And we had to go back to he had to go back to the house and get a socket and a punch and a hammer, and we had to press out or hammer out the swing arm pivot bolt to release all the tension to get that wadded up chain from out of there. But just a little heads up. Oh. On these bikes, the 26, they fixed the stupid, super hard to get off quarter turn radiator cap. Now they're just back to, not the old style, but just a 360-degree twist on and twist off radiator cap, much better. Have the Nihilo Concept secondary start switch in case you damage your start switch up here. Look at the triple clamps again. And I think that's mostly it. See if there's anything else I can think of that I missed. But that's my bike build. Hopefully it gave you some ideas on different products and manufacturers. And keep in mind, this is all stuff that I've kind of come across and have tested and tried and just wanted to use. So